Now, the Shimano Saint Groupset has always been regarded as the pinnacle of downhill performance, and you wouldn't find many people who would argue with that. But Shimano have gone back to the drawing board and improved upon this Groupset no end. It's absolutely amazing now. We've been riding the new Groupset for a couple of months, and it's fully sick. Now, it's really quite hard to know where to start in terms of the improvements that they've made to this Groupset. But the first thing that you notice is the brakes. The brakes in the old Shimano Saint Groupset were an absolute highlight, but they weren't known for their subtlety. They had a big heavy feeling, kind of like a motorbike clutch lever, and when they went out, they really went out. Those anchors locked on, and a lot of people didn't like the fact they didn't have much modulation. Now that is all changed with the new Saint brakes. These things have a much lighter feeling at the lever. The lever is a lot smaller and looks and feels a lot more refined underneath your finger. But most importantly, the power is incredibly easy to control now. The power comes on much more gradually, and that initial bite has gone. Although there's less initial bite than with the old Saint brakes, there's still heaps and heaps of power on tap when you need it, thanks to the servo wave lever and the big quad piston calipers. Where we most noticed the improvements with these brakes over the old Saint brakes was in dusty conditions or on loose, wet rocks. The kind of moments when you really want sensitivity in your braking, when you don't want to be locking up that front wheel accidentally. These brakes rule in those instances. Now, one of the areas that Shimano have put a lot of effort in is heat dissipation. To be honest though, we never had any problems with the old Saint brakes in Australian conditions. We never really got them to the point where we felt like we'd cooked them. But Shimano have obviously recognised that some people, in some instances, in some parts of the world, are going to get these puppies pretty hot, so they've put a lot of effort into trying to reduce the heat. Now, Shimano claim that through their new technologies, they've been able to drop the temperature of these brakes by 50% under extreme operating conditions. Now that is a whopping figure. The way that they've done this is with ceramic pistons, which are designed to transfer less heat from the pad through to the brake fluid, which means less brake fade, and they've also started using a finned pad design. Now this is the same style of pad that we've seen in their Xtr Trail brakes and the XT brakes. The idea is that it increases the amount of air circulating around the pad, reducing the temperatures. All up, this means less brake fade on long descents, which means less brake pad wear and ultimately more power. One other technology that Shimano are also using to try and reduce the heat of these brakes is a new finned rotor. Now unfortunately these weren't available at the time of testing, but these things look pretty funky. You might have seen some photos of them kicking around on the net, again designed to drop the pad temperatures. Another real standout with these brakes that came into play in our Whistler testing in particular was that these brakes are insane in the wet weather. They didn't lose any power and they didn't howl or squeal. They were absolutely consistent in even the most atrocious wet conditions. Our only criticism of these brakes is that little Phillips head adjuster on the lever. That's the free stroke adjuster. It seems a little bit gimmicky to us. It doesn't really seem to make all that much of a difference. We think they could do without it. Now the second standout aspect of the new Shimano Saint Groupset is the drivetrain. As soon as you start hitting bumpy terrain, you'll be blown away at how quiet your bike is with the new Saint. It all comes down to the clutch mechanism in the rear derailleur. Now this Shadow Plus derailleur uses the same clutch as found in the XTR derailleurs of 2012. It's designed to really limit the amount that the cage moves around and therefore reduce chain slap, meaning you get a super quiet ride. But it's not just the clutch that makes this derailleur a standout. When you look at the parallelogram and the width of the links used in this derailleur, you can see how burly and stiff and tough it really is. And this comes across in the shift quality too. It's got a really strong, solid shift that just seems amazingly precise. It is now a 10-speed system as well, which might seem at odds with the current trends towards using less gears on downhill bikes, but to be honest, we really liked the close ratios between gears that the 10-speed system gave us. Now, in spite of the very stiff rear derailleur springs, the shift action remains very light, far lighter than the previous Saint actually. And this comes down to the improved cable pull ratios of the Dinosaur system, along with the longer shift paddles. The longer paddle gives you more leverage when downshifting, and another cool feature with this shifter is that it's dual release, which means you can use the upshift lever in both directions, activating it with your thumb or your forefinger, and if you push with your thumb, you can actually get it to jump 2 gears at once on the upshift, which is great when accelerating out of corners or when you need to gain speed quickly. Now, we did encounter one problem with the derailleur, and that was that it used to bang into the chainstay pivot on our Norco, a problem that we found common across many bikes that had a low-hanging chainstay or used a horse-link pivot. There's an easy solution though. This derailleur is designed to run in either a close ratio mode for a road cassette or a wide ratio mode for a mountain bike cassette. Popping in the adapter that allows it to run for the wide ratio gave extra clearance between the derailleur and the chainstay and alleviated the problem with no noticeable decrease in shift quality. If it ain't broke, don't fix it seems to be the attitude Shimano have taken to the cranks and the hubs with the new Saint Groupset. They have dropped 100 grams out of the crankset, which is great, giving it a slightly racier feel and adding to the appeal for the racer boys out there. but they haven't sacrificed any strength at all. It's still 250% stronger than Xtr Trail Cranks, which are already bloody strong. Shimano have also introduced a Saint-specific flat pedal. Now this doesn't replace the classic MX30 flat pedal that a lot of people love, but sits alongside it. It's thinner, however, with a larger platform. We've got a separate test on that coming up soon. Shimano also have a Saint chain guide on the way. Now we've seen the prototypes and it looks very cool. Super lightweight with a sprung lower arm to help get that lower slider out of the way from impacts. There have been very minor changes to the hubs with a small tweak in the outer lock nut design. Nothing to worry about at all here. Those hubs are bomb-proof. We've been running the previous versions for 3 years and haven't had to service them once. Previous version of Saint was already incredible. The new one is just even better. It takes it to a whole new level. This truly is the cat's pajamas, the duck's nuts, the bee's knees of downhill group sets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.